A podcast? Did your radio show get canceled?
Fire. Low down and filthy, but the discipline is on point. Schooled myself, made my own dojo. A cold flow with the whole dose of soul. Maintain composure, even in theory. An anomaly, properties undiscernible to mere peasants. Use weapons.
I've been eating a lot of nuts. You know, all I do is eat nuts, it feels like. But they're like the healthy nuts. Here's my nuts here. You can hear my nuts. I'm trying to eat healthier, so I'm eating a bunch of nuts. But none of them can... There's all sorts of nut rules. Like, you can't have salted or roasted nuts. I gotta have raw nuts. So I'm just eat raw nuts all the time. Hi, everybody. This week on the $1 Million Plan, I'm apparently talking to you about how many nuts I'm eating. And, you know, it's the decent nuts. Like, it's cashews, which are a good nut. Almonds are fine, but the raw almonds, I don't care what you think. They're not good. I don't know. Here's the thing. Someone's going to email me like, you shouldn't eat so many nuts. I don't need that. I've switched from cheeseburgers to nuts. And if there's another step below nuts, I don't want to know what it is. And I'm not willing to do it. This week on the $1 Million Plan, we talked to Malcolm. Malcolm is a doctor who doesn't get paid like a doctor yet. He's got $300 and a bazillion worth of student loans. So we're going to try to structure his financial life. You want to be on the show? Be on the show. PeteThePlanner.com/podcast. I always feel like I have really exciting things to tell you, but then when I go to tell them to you, I'm like, they're exciting for me, not you. Right? I don't want to act, here's something really exciting for me that you won't be excited about. So, I'm just not sharing. I already shared. I just eat a lot of nuts. That's where I'm at. I eat this is what it's called. It's little Trader Joe's individually wrapped nuts. Just a handful of Simply almonds, cashews, and cranberries. Trek mix. Let's see the nutritional information on these. Maybe Dr. Malcolm could help me. Per bag, 210 calories, 13 grams of total fat, only 1.5, and then it gets into polyunsaturated. It's just a lot of nuts. Here's Malcolm.
Stop what you're doing. And hit Pete up on Twitter at Pete the Planner.
I never question the right of any man to voice his opinion as strongly as any can. But then again, many men are citizens of their own little world, so they ain't really fitting in. I'm in the background blending in, camouflaged by the scenery, but I'm a champion. Revamp the camp again, put down my stamp again, talk to my fans again, renew my brand again.
We welcome Malcolm to the $1 Million Plan. Hello, Malcolm.
How's it going, Pete?
I'm pretty excited about your willingness to go with the name Malcolm. How about that?
You don't think it's a good name?
No, it's wonderful. I feel like it's an underutilized name. In fact, I named my son Theodore, after Malcolm Jamal Warner's character in The Cosby Show. So I love the name Malcolm.
I'm glad there's some kind of connection. It's a little over my head.
Is that a I'm an old guy joke? Do I need to explain who Bill Cosby is and his role in society today?
Recently, it's probably not the best thing to do.
Look, I'm not a physician. I don't know how any of this works. All right, what are we doing today specifically for you, Malcolm?
So I've always kind of felt like I've had a decent grip on my finances, and then I kind of discovered your show and realized I didn't know exactly what I was talking about, if that makes sense.
Do I know what I'm talking about? Because this would be breaking news. I'd have to hit a stinger and breaking news. Pete actually knows what he's talking about.
Well, whatever I can do to help.
Thank you.
If I can put things out like that.
Gee, no, I appreciate that. So what specifically? So what do you do for a living? Help me understand. Do I understand that you're about to change jobs or training or what's going on?
So for me, I think you've had something similar on your show before, but I'm basically a resident doctor. So I'm in the little interim training program where I graduated school about a year and a half ago.
Okay.
And then I'm in a 3-year training program where I basically work for the hospital for peanuts. And then once they've trained me up, then I get to increase my salary a good amount. So I emailed you the other day. I make about $50,000 a year now,
Okay.
and then once I graduate in July of 2018, that'll jump up to probably around 200,000.
All right, so I have 1 million questions. How old
Sure.
a fella are you?
I'm 28.
Okay, 28. So in many respects, and I don't want to speak for you, okay? Do you feel like your financial life does not begin until July of 2018?
Yeah, and that's kind of the issue I'm having. Is I think I've always kind of, and I think I've listened to your show before and listened to you talk to people about running in place.
Yeah.
And I think I kind of latched onto that, and I was kind of like, oh, well, I just have to kind of wait and keep on going. And part of what I did is when I was younger, before I went to med school, I'd kind of gotten this idea that a lot of doctors are terrible at investing, and so I tried to kind of self-teach myself. So I went out and got a bunch of books on investing and things like that. So I learned kind of what to do, but I wasn't really putting it into practice. And then when I started listening to your show, I listened to especially the episodes about setting goals and just kind of getting out of your own way. So that's kind of why I'm here today.
No, I'm glad you're here, Doctor. Doctor, do I have to call you Doctor Malcolm? That'd be good. All right, so Doctor, when you first got your PhD, so you have your PhD, right? You went through that whole ceremony. Did you make everyone around you call you Doctor?
It's kind of the running joke that on my, everyone in my medical school classes, we're all on Facebook. So I think I saw that clip from what's that?
Spies Like Us.
Yeah. Spies Like Us, where everyone just kind of is shaking hands and going doctor. So
Great.
It got old real quick.
Oh, well, that movie's amazing, by the way. So do you have any other income into your house, a significant other, anything like that?
Yeah. So my girlfriend. Excuse me, my phone's buzzing in the background. My girlfriend makes about $55,000.
Okay.
And so, our finances they're kind of separate but together at the same time.
They support the same household, but they're for individual use?
Yes and no. So we have our own places right now. I've been dating for about a year. So we're going to probably move in together next year, at which point everything will kind of be together.
Okay.
Yeah, the big jump there. So we pay for food and groceries and things like that together.
Okay.
But we have our own utilities and house payments and things like that.
So is her income going to be one that's going to stay in the $55,000 range and creep up, or does she have a significant jump coming too?
Not as significant. We're thinking that in the end, so the goal is we'll probably move. We're kind of stuck here where we are now for the next year and a half, and then we'll probably move. And the goal is that she'll probably be making probably around 65 to 70 by the time we get out and get settled somewhere.
And is she around your same age, 28?
She's a little younger. She'll turn 24 this year.
Oh, you're creepy. That's a huge gap.
I
You're
know
clearly
it.
a creepy man. Creepy physician. All right, so here's the big question. Student loans. How much, Doc?
So I have two big areas of loans. So I had a private undergrad loan I took out when I was in a junior in college, and that still has about $13,000 left on it.
Okay.
And then I'm kind of leading here a little bit. So the big loan is my med school loans with the rest of my undergrad loans, which together is all about $321,000 right now.
I'm coughing and turning my head, just so you know.
Yeah.
$321,000. You have a monthly payment on that right now that's super low based on what your income is, though, right?
Right. So I'm on one of the income-driven repayment plans, which puts things down to $17.38, which is a ridiculously low number for that amount of money.
All right. So I have so many questions. So when you make $200,000 in July of 2018, which in many ways you're going to exhale and you're going to go, oh, finally. But then the second you say finally, then your income adjusted payments fly up, and you're not. I mean, you're going to be cash flow positive, but your cash flow is not going to be as positive as you think, right?
Sure. And so I actually I'm a big spreadsheet geek.
Yes.
So I have all sorts of things figured out there. So based on the amount that it would be, I've got a big calculator here in front of me that says, year 0 for now, and then year 1, 2, 3, 4 for up to 25 years.
Okay, what's it look like? Yeah, in year 1 at $200,000, what's the payments adjust to?
So about at that point, it would be about an annual payment of $18,750, which if I do a quick little spreadsheet math here, that'd be an annual payment of about $1,500.
Monthly payment, $1,500. Yeah. So, what's the interest rate on those?
So the interest rate altogether is 6.6%.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Here's what sucks about that, Doc, is that I wanted to be really cute and be like, well, you should invest anyway because then your gains can outpace. But those numbers, I mean, on a long-term basis, you're going to be able to beat 6.6% investing.
Sure.
You would hope, right? I mean,
Right.
But those are close enough that it makes it way too interesting. And it's not one of those things where you can just let it run out. Do you plan on just letting it run its course, or did you plan on being a little bit aggressive with them?
So that's actually the other question. Is I think you've talked before about the public service loan forgiveness program, which is where basically if you work in public service, which it's kind of a loophole that a lot of people in my position have taken.
Right.
Because a lot of hospitals are technically public service. They're nonprofit organizations. If you work for 10 years and they forgive your debt. And so that's something I've considered. It's something that a lot of my colleagues are kind of leaning on, which I'm not. I'm going back and forth on how comfortable I am with that in terms of how long do I expect the government to keep allowing that to happen. Is kind of the question.
Yeah, that's a fair question. I think the bigger issue is it's a bigger commitment than you think, because then you're 10 years locked in if you choose to work in a public hospital or something like that. I mean, it really can limit your career choices to some degree.
Sure. I basically that'll kind of limit where I go, and there could be other jobs that are through, maybe not a nonprofit hospital that might even pay a little bit more.
What's your specialty?
I'm in internal medicine. So it's just kind of just general stuff.
So just not skin, because that's external medicine. Yeah, I'm pretty good at this stuff.
Exactly.
Pretty good with this stuff. Okay, so do you have? Let's go back to the goal thing, because I think that maybe is what spurred your interest in being on the show. What do you view as your number one priority, which gets funding, making it a goal? Like, what do you think it is right now?
I think right now I've been torn between kind of striving for financial independence, where I can, invest enough money to kind of have a constant flow of money from my investments, and to getting out from under my debt, which I guess aren't necessarily two opposite things. But
yeah, super interesting. You said something in a really weird way, and I want to make sure you meant it the way you said it.
Sure.
You said a constant flow. I think you even said a constant flow of income from your investments. Is that what you just said?
That's what I meant, yeah.
So do you want to take, despite the fact that you're going to have a large amount of income, you want more income off of your investments? Because when we say income off of investments, generally we don't mean to then reinvest the income. We mean to take the income. Do you mean that, or do you mean to grow your investments?
I mean to grow to a point where I can get to a point someday. I think the end goal is to not have to be working for another 40 years.
Okay, that's a good goal.
So at some point to be able to stop working if I can.
All right, so here's the technical learning point, which very rarely happens on this show. But since I'm with a physician, I feel like I have to show how intelligent I am.
My goal is to give you some credibility. So
yeah, right. Every once in a while. So your investment objective is growth, not income. It will switch to income when you want income, but right now you don't want income. So your actual goal with investing is growth, despite the fact that later you will want income. You don't say right now, my goal is income, because that's not your goal. Does that make sense? Does that matter?
Sure. Yeah, I think that's probably a better way to put it.
And the reality is I don't think it matters. Now, the other way you said it is that you want to basically cut your obligations, because the other way to not work, need to work for income, is to make it so you don't need money because you don't have a lot of expenses taking your money. And I think that obviously begins with getting rid of that $1,500 a month federal student loan payment that's going to kick in July of 2018. Is that what you're thinking as well?
Yeah, that's kind of been my thought process.
How long do you think you're going to live the financial life that you'll begin to live in July of 2018? Do you view that as I'm going to have a decade of the same lifestyle, or how do you look at that?
Well, another thing that I've kind of gotten, I think both from your podcast and from other things is, listening to the episode about minimalism and things like that is something I see a lot of my colleagues doing is they've already started to kind of like live as if they're making that bigger income. Whereas for me, I've already started to plan like against lifestyle inflation, if that makes sense. So even though I'm going to be going from a $50,000 a year salary lifestyle to $200,000, I'm trying to aim to going somewhere more in the middle, somewhere that's a little bit more sustainable.
Do you have now? I know you said you're thinking about moving potentially when your girlfriend graduates and all these sorts of things. Did you say she's graduating, or am I just adding details to this that don't exist?
No, she's just working, and basically she's waiting for me to finish up.
Waiting for you to finish up. Okay, so I definitely just created a situation. You also have a dog named Lorenzo. Did I make that up, or do you have a dog named Lorenzo?
I do have a really good friend named Lorenzo who has a dog, so we can kind of...
Do you ever go, hey, what up, dog?
Like,
yeah. So do you plan on buying a house when you move, or where's that fall on the priority list?
It's pretty low. I'm kind of against buying a house until I know I'm going to be somewhere for at least 15, 20 years. So I'm comfortable with just kind of renting in the interim.
Now look at you. You're making me all happy over here. I'm getting the vapors. I love it. So excited. So here's the problem with a lot of physicians, and I love speaking in generalities.
Sure.
They get to July of 2018 when they get out of residency or whatever training program they're in, and then all of a sudden they have a huge income, and the first thing they do is they buy a house, and they basically limit what they could do financially for the next decade or so. And you're saying you're not going to do that.
That's the goal.
Oh, I like how you say that's the goal, as though you might change your mind along the way and buy a house and screw yourself.
I just like to give myself a little bit of wiggle room. That's all. But that's the plan.
All right, so I guess that now the real question is, with your income now at $50,000 annually, and you're not really paying much to the debt service, it sounds like you are aggressively investing the money you're making now, or am I making that up?
I guess it depends on what you mean by aggressive. So I guess so I have a 403B through work, and they match half of the first 6%. So I put in 6%, they put in 3%.
All right.
And then on top of that, I also have just a Roth IRA that I put about $1,000 a year into.
Okay. And so, do you have a savings account?
I don't have a savings account. I have a checking account that earns interest. So I just kind of have things kind of socked away in there.
So what's your paycheck, and how often do you get paid?
I make about $1,250 every 2 weeks.
I like that you said about $1,250, as though that's okay. Okay, every 2 weeks. So you make $2,500 a month, and where does it go? I mean, what does it do?
So you'll be happy to know that I have a nice color-coded spreadsheet based on the Pete the Planner Ideal budget on my
Girl, that's so hot. So what? All right. So what's your rent in relation to percentages?
So basically, I have in 2 columns. I have what you recommend, and then I have what I'm actually paying on one section. So housing should be about 25%. I spend a little bit more,
sure.
So it should be $625. I spend $750.
Okay.
Which is something that we're hoping to downgrade once the SO and I move in together next year.
The SO, oh my Lord,
SO.
Malcolm, you're the first person on this show to say the SO. That is so romantic. You're often accused of being a romantic, aren't you?
Every once in a while, when the mood strikes.
Oh my God, that's amazing. All right, so continue. Transportation.
So moving on, I can spend per yourself. I can spend $375 a month. I spend about $250.
Cool.
So I don't have a car. I don't have a car payment. The car's all paid off. So I just pay gas and insurance, and then I also put away a little bit every month into a car repair fund, so
Okay.
that if I get dinged with a car repair 6 months from now, I've got a little bit of money saved away for it.
In case you have to take it to an auto internal medicine person,
Exactly.
a mechanic, as they call it in the biz. And then what about food? Do you gorge yourself and drink a lot of craft beer? What are you doing?
No, I allot the $300 a month, which is 12%. So I split that between groceries. I put 160 into that, and then 140 into restaurants every month.
When you do
And then-
when you go into a patient's room and they've got like hospital food there, do you ever like, hey, oh my gosh, a kangaroo, and they look around and then like to save money on food, you like take their peanut butter or whatever? Do you ever do that?
It's not that bad. Although doctors do have a really bad habit of walking into the room right as the food has gotten there.
Oh, that sucks.
And then it's cold. Like, so I try to be somewhat cognizant of that.
Yeah.
But the hospital does pay for does give me a meal allowance, which is not included in my salary. So I use that a little bit, which saves some money.
Are you the doctor that works out all the time and tells everyone how much you work out, or is that someone else that you know?
No, that's someone outside. I'm internal medicine, so we're the kind of the geeky glasses wearing people in the medicine world.
Sure.
If you couldn't tell by me running through my spreadsheet with you right now.
Who's the set of doctors that tend to work out all the time and always smell like Irish Spring? Like, who's that? What's that group?
Generally, those would be your orthopedic surgeons.
Oh, totally, because they were former athletes. They're like, I blew my knee playing lacrosse, and right, those guys.
So you can blame me now when you get like a huge string of angry emails from orthopedic surgeons now. But yeah, that's generally it.
Yeah, that's all right. It's probably true. It's stereotypes with doctors are generally true. Anyway, so okay, so your budget seems in line. Is there a category that you're way over on?
I don't think there's anything. Yeah, I think the one thing that I've realized that we're spending a little bit more on than we probably should is our vacation budget.
Okay.
And so I was doing really well at, putting all this money away, and then I just had this big chunk of change left over, and then we just go and blow it on vacation. So that's kind of where I'm trying to cut back on. So we were planning a trip to Hawaii, actually,
Oh.
at the beginning of next year. And then
Did you blame me? Tell me you didn't blame me.
I may have blamed you a little bit.
Oh, my God.
Actually, funny story. I don't know if I'm sure you get a lot of emails, but my girlfriend was so annoyed with how obsessed with Pete the Planner I'd become that I think
She emailed me.
Emailed you.
Yeah, I was
Oh, you
going to
remember?
call.
Okay.
Yeah, I asked for your number. I was going to call you randomly, and she said don't because he works weird hours.
Okay. Yeah, and she was really concerned because she told me a month later, and she was like, "Did you ever get any phone calls?" And it's weird because I work weird hours, and I also spend a lot of time in dead zones of the hospital, so there'd be weird times where I just wouldn't even get cell phone service.
Oh,
so
this is so amazing. Oh, cool. Yeah, now that all makes sense now. So, this is a dumb question. Do you get overtime? Like, if you're there, can you get more than $50,000 a year or not?
No, unfortunately. So the way it works is basically I'm not allowed to work more than 80 hours a week, but they kind of push that right to the limit.
Okay.
So I'm actually the only reason I'm calling you now is because I worked a 24-hour shift yesterday, and so I get to be off today because I left work at 7 a.m. this morning.
24-hour shift? What are you, like a coal miner? Like what? How's that even work? Do you get to sleep? Do you get to sleep?
Last night, no.
The hell's wrong with this world? Did you touch anyone with instruments today after you didn't sleep?
Well, I mean, I just basically didn't sleep all day, so I was seeing patients through the night. So I was running the intensive care unit, so I was, the sickest of the sick.
So now I don't feel like I can make any jokes because now we're talking about the sickest of the sick. I was going to ask you, what's it like to go into a room and ask someone just to remove their pants? Like, that's got to be a weird thing to do, right? No?
It was at first, but you kind of just get used to it.
Do you try to make them more comfortable, like, hey, I'll remove mine, or is that frowned upon?
There was an incident a few months back, so we're not allowed to do that anymore.
I love it. So, yeah, you know what? We talk about that running in place thing, and we talk about what's your goal. If I'm you, I think your goal has got to be, when I say aggressively invest, by the way, I don't mean invest in aggressive investments. What I mean is use as much of your income as you can to invest. And I think if we're going by the theories of compounding interest and the earliest money is the best money, I think your number one priority right now is to get as much money into, we'll call it the market for lack of a better term, as you can. Because I think that will pay off and accomplish your eventual long-term goal of creating an income stream off of your investments.
Okay. So you think just kind of, I know, like you said, we're kind of splitting hairs between making maybe 8% in the market versus 6.6% in the long-term loan repayment thing.
Yeah.
The only other thing is, basically my plan now is kind of just to monitor things in terms of how the public service loan forgiveness thing is going to work out, at least over the next year and a half, because I can't really put that much more money to it at this point anyway. And then come the time when I'm actually making a little bit more income, see if it makes more sense to stick with the government payment plan, or to try to refinance it and get down to maybe like 3 or 4%, and then see if things make more sense that way.
Yeah, and again, I think you hit the nail on the head. You've got a little bit of run-in-place thing that's just a reality. I mean, your income's going to shift so much that it's just the way you got to view it. I would say, though, that I was going to run $1 million day for you, which I still can, but the reality is in 2 years it blows up because you're going to be investing a lot more money, so it doesn't even really matter. If you want it, I'll give it to you, but if not, I don't know if it particularly matters. You have just under...
I kind of got one myself. So.
Oh, okay, let's match them up. So how much did you say you're putting in a month?
So I put in, let's see, it should be 6% of the income. I think it ends up being about $200 a month.
Okay, and their match
into my 403b, and then they match half of that. So I think they put in another $100.
Okay, and then you're putting.
And then I put $1,000 a year into the Roth IRA.
Okay.
And then my spreadsheet math has me in 2 years just maxing out my 403b and my Roth IRA contributions. Then I'd start putting in 20-something thousand dollars a year at that point.
Sure. At this point in time, prior to the max out, because I don't like to put the max out unless it happens. You know what I mean? Sure. Like in my calculations, right. I've got your $1 million day as April 14th of 2051. If for some reason you kept doing exactly what you're doing now, which I don't recommend. So, right. But that's good. I mean, that doesn't surprise me. You're doing things right. Well, good job, man. I would just keep getting money in the market until your income pops, and then you can start to live a little bit, right?
Just a little bit, within reason.
$363,000 in student loans. Oh, I have hives. You should get these looked at.
Well, actually, that's a skin problem, so that's external medicine.
I know. Internal medicine. So that just means you have to know how all my insides work. I mean, there's probably a better definition. They don't start the first day of medical school saying, hey, internal medicine's like how stuff on the inside works. Like, is that a definition or no?
It's a little bit more complicated than that.
Well, sure. Overcomplicated just to drive your salary up. I see what you're doing.
So it's only 4 years of school, Pete.
Oh my gosh, I hate school. So, all right. Awesome, Malcolm. Anything else I can help you with?
I think that'll about cover it. I appreciate the reassurance, at least. Tell
your girlfriend I said hi, and email me. Keep me updated. I want to know what's going on.
I will. She was just texting me nervously before you called, so I'll let her know how things went.
Tell her settle down, have a cocktail. I mean, it's midday, but sure, have at it.
One of us has to work, so.
All right, man. Thanks so much.
All right, Pete. I appreciate it.
If you want to be on this podcast and have Pete fix your money life, then hit us up at PeteThePlanner.com/podcast. You heard me. PeteThePlanner.com/podcast. Log on.
This is for information purposes only. It's not the Swiss financial planning device. Consult a financial advisor.
Released from Everest, the fresh is fresh, and you can call me E.T. Word to John Tesh. Let me bless this harmonic presentation. It's amazing, so amazing. I'm the reason. Salutations, I bring you love, trying greetings from a faraway land. I am the sole controller. Put the remote down and let me take control. You're now a part of my zone, so enjoy yourself. Love Tron can restore your health. I bring you greetings, salutations. How you doing? And is that how y'all say it? The tinkling of the keys is an homage to the little star. I sojourn over poetic descriptions of sound and travel to my other world. Out of this world, spaceship on my arm took me home, fueled by the ink and the megabytes and the hypertext transfer protocol, stronger than the Skynet and the Terminator. I push faders into warp speed, glide with ease, creating a breeze they call a black hole. Event horizon, no rear view concerns. This I adjourn, and beats I burn. This I adjourn, and beats I burn. Salutations, I bring you love, trying greetings from a faraway land. I am the sole controller. Put the remote down and let me take control. You're now a part of my zone, so enjoy yourself. Love Tron can restore your health. I bring you greetings, salutations. How you doing? And is that how y'all say it?